Every business on the planet wants to save money. But what if I told you that the most common ways we try to cut costs are really just an illusion? What if they're secretly draining your resources? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the real price of being cheap.
I mean, this is basically business 101, right? The pressure is always on to be lean, to be efficient. And on the surface, it really feels like the most responsible thing you can do for your company.
But, and it's a big but, lurking just under the surface of all that common sense is a catch. The very strategies that feel like smart savings can actually mask some deep, really expensive problems. And I bet these tactics look pretty familiar. Keeping all the financial stuff in-house, relying on good old spreadsheets for everything, putting off that big software upgrade, it all looks like responsible management.
But here's the absolute crucial point. These short-term savings are often just a mirage. They create these hidden debts like inefficiency, errors, and missed opportunities that, believe me, you will have to pay for down the line.
So, where are these hidden costs actually hiding? Let's break down the 4 main areas where trying to be cheap ends up being incredibly expensive. Okay, first up,
The cost to your single most valuable resource, your time. Seriously, every hour your team spends on that hamster wheel of manual data entry, that's an hour they're not spending on big picture strategy or actually growing the business. It's a direct drain on your company's potential.
Second, then there's the cost that shows up right there on the balance sheet. Financial errors. Let's be honest, manual processes are just asking for them. A simple typo can snowball into costly rework, big regulatory fines, or even damaged relationships with your clients. These aren't just little oopsies, they are direct financial hits.
Third, and this might just be the biggest cost of all, lost opportunity. The real loss isn't just the hours you're spending, it's the growth you could have had. When your best people are bogged down in routine tasks, they just can't innovate.
And finally, let's talk about the 4th hidden cost. And it's the human one, burnout. See, when you save money by not investing in the right tools, you're really just shifting that cost onto your employees. And the result? A stressed, overworked team, which leads to high turnover and a nosedive in quality. So how in the world do we break out of this cycle of hidden costs? Well, it all starts by asking a totally different question. This right here, this is the mindset shift. Instead of just focusing on the price tag of a solution, we need to start calculating the cost of the problem itself. What is all that inefficiency, all that inaccuracy, and all those delays really costing your business every single day? So once we reframe the problem like that, the solution starts to get a lot clearer. It's not about cutting costs anymore. It's about making smart investments in efficiency. And one of the most powerful ways to do that is through strategic outsourcing. Just take tax prep, for example. Handing that off to specialists doesn't just get the job done, it directly fights those hidden costs we were just talking about. It cuts down on errors, it saves a ton of time, it makes sure you're compliant, and most importantly, it frees up your team to do what they do best.
And you know what? The exact same logic applies to accounts payable. Outsourcing that function streamlines everything, from processing invoices to managing your cash flow, all while taking a huge burden off your staff. It's not just a win for efficiency, it's a huge win for financial clarity and control.
This brings us to a really fundamental idea that every single business leader needs to get. There is a world of difference between being cheap and being cost-effective.
See, being cheap is a short-term game. It's all about minimizing that initial price tag. But being cost-effective, that's a long-term strategy. It's about investing in a solution that actually creates more value than it costs by improving your accuracy, your efficiency, and saving you time.
So, how do you know if your current cost-cutting strategy is actually holding you back? Okay, let's do a quick gut check. Here are some warning signs to look for in your own organization. So take a look at these. Does any of this sound familiar? Is your team just constantly overworked? Are you seeing more and more errors pop up? If any of these are hitting close to home, it's a really strong sign that your strategy is creating those hidden costs. And if growing the business just feels like an uphill battle, your internal processes might be the real problem.
At the end of the day, this is the key idea right here. Cost-effectiveness isn't about the price. It's about the return on that investment. It's about building a system that doesn't just save you money, but actively creates new value for your business.
And that's really the question I want to leave you with. Take a good, hard look at your financial operations. Are your decisions driven by just trying to spend less, or are you strategically investing to build a more efficient, a more accurate,
and a more valuable business? The answer to that question makes all the difference.